Hey everyone, so this video is going to be a little bit different from some of the ones that we've done in the past, but I think it's something that's extremely important to talk about, particularly this time of the year when a lot of students are contemplating whether or not they should go to college or university, and if so, what direction they should take their career in. Now, one of the reasons why I actually have this matrix on the screen here is for us to illustrate some of the potential outcomes in actually selecting your major. Now, a lot of students who are looking to go to college, university, get a lot of influence from outside people. So whether that's your parents, your brothers, your sisters, your aunts, your uncles, or even just your friends or your peers, as well as your academic advisors at school. A lot of people will try to encourage you, or maybe influence you in particular career fields that maybe they went down, or maybe they feel like they should have gone down, that might not necessarily match up or align with your specific individual interests. And so I want to illustrate whether or not you should consider some of these things when selecting your potential major. Now, if you look at this matrix on the screen, you've got essentially two different routes you can go down. And so if we look at the left-hand column, that's going to actually represent maybe going down a particular field of study that you're not very passionate about, but could provide you with some level of success. And in the right-hand side, it's going to represent going down a particular field of study that you are extremely passionate about, but perhaps you're not going to find a whole lot of success in it. And this is the assumption here is going to be that success is probably going to mean monetary or financial success, although success means completely different things to anyone that you talk to, really. And so, depending on your personal definition of success, then what you feel is the right direction for you to go in is going to be completely different from someone else. So, one of the things I want to talk about first is let's assume that somebody, just for the purposes of this example, somebody has two parents who are both accountants and they've really found some financial success being accountants. Maybe they started their own small practice and they feel as though their son or daughter should also go down that particular field of study because it served them well in their career, and they feel as though that will bring success to their son or daughter if they happen to go down that field as well. So this particular student maybe isn't very happy about going down the accounting route, and perhaps they have the tools necessary to be successful in that they have their parents to be mentors for them. They've got kind of a job already lined up for them. They don't at all enjoy the accounting field. Maybe they don't even have the right temperament to be an accountant. They're not a type of person who can sit at a desk and crunch numbers all day. They really need to be up, in the field, so to speak, maybe interacting with a lot of people. They don't have the personality type that'll do well as an accountant. So the first outcome here is perhaps they go down that field and they're successful in it, just because of the infrastructure that's been built around them, but maybe they're not very happy about it. They just don't get their fulfillment out of that particular field of study, and they do the 9 to 5 there, and their only real motivation is the financial rewards that comes out of it so that they can fund a lot of the things that they want to do outside of their work. And so that's one particular outcome. Now, that isn't necessarily the worst outcome. A lot of people might find as though going down a particular field of study, if it brings a tremendous amount of financial reward, is worth it, even if it means that they don't particularly enjoy it too much. And they'll just do that for their 40 hours a week, and then they'll just enjoy the time they have outside of their actual job. And that might be okay for some people. But let's look at the other potential outcome here. You might have somebody who goes down a particular field of study. And by the way, we're not picking on accounting as a major in any sense of the term. In fact, I think it's a tremendous field of study for the right person who happens to be interested in that. And so that's just the example that we're using here. So let's assume that that person that we were talking about goes down this route. They're not passionate about it at all, and they're just not very successful at it either. Maybe their parents did very well at it, but they're not as good at the quantitative aspect of it. They're just not very good at the business development aspect of getting new clients and just engaging in new clients and keeping them satisfied, and they're just not successful at it at all. This is really the worst outcome you can possibly have. Not only does this person not at all enjoy the route that they've gone down, but they're also not successful in doing it as well. And so that's a potential that you're going to always have, is not being successful in something in particular, but they also have that other aspect of just not enjoying it at all. And so that's the alternative outcome in this scenario. Now let's look at the right hand side of the matrix, and let's assume that somebody goes down a route where they're really passionate about it. Now, a classic example is somebody who's just really passionate about the arts, right? They just really love music, and they just like visual arts and fine arts and that type of thing. Maybe it's not the most financially lucrative for most people. Maybe some people have found opportunities to create a business or get really big contracts that have done well for them. But let's just assume that this person goes down this route. They love what they do. They're super engaged and enthusiastic about the role that they're in, and they're also super successful in this as well. This is ultimately what everyone would want to be striving towards, right? You've got the best of both worlds. Not only are you financially successful in what you're doing, but you also really, really love what you're doing as well. And so that's almost the utopia that we're all kind of working towards as well. Now let's look at the flip side of this. The flip side of this is they're doing something that they're really, really passionate about, but they're not very successful at it. And like I said, financial success is probably what we're focusing on right here. Um, but perhaps maybe somebody just really enjoys the martial arts as an example, and they want to be an instructor, and they're not making a whole lot of money. Maybe they actually need to have a second job to be able to fund their actual passion, and so they're working a lot more hours than they would if they were to just take a more cushy job, so to speak, where they can work fewer hours. But just the fact that they're able to do what they love for the majority of their week is something that's going to make them happy and enthusiastic about getting up every single day. And so this particular outcome that we see here is actually not necessarily as bad, considering the fact that the people are still very passionate about what they're doing. Maybe they don't have the financial rewards and they have to live a much more minimalistic type of life, but it's something that actually brings them a lot more enthusiasm than they would have got if they were to go down an alternative route that isn't more aligned with their passions. And so when we look at this entire matrix, those are essentially the four outcomes that we can look at. Now, the correct answer for one person is not at all going to be the correct answer for someone else. And like I said earlier, there's some people who are completely fine with the trade-off of saying, you know what, I'm going to do a job that I don't actually like a whole lot, but I'm going to get financial rewards from it that's going to allow me to fund the type of lifestyle that I like. And so I'm okay with the fact that I don't have to like what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis, but so long as I can provide for my family, do so comfortably, take my vacations, and do a lot of the things that I enjoy outside of work is enough for me to be happy. Now, if that's happiness for one person, it's going to be completely different from somebody else. Somebody else might define happiness as being, they can't get out of bed in the morning if they're not doing something that they're absolutely passionate about, regardless of whether or not it actually brings them any money or not. And so for those two people, where they fall in this particular matrix is going to be completely different. And so it's very hard for you to say go to one side of the matrix versus the other, or go down a route that you're not passionate about versus going down a route you're passionate about, because it really is up to your value system and what thing that you actually peg as bringing you the most amount of fulfillment in your professional and personal life as well. This is just something for you to really think about when you're actually selecting various majors, is to see where that particular major will help you fall in this matrix and whether or not that's actually something you're okay with, right? And it's maybe something for you to kind of explore a little bit more and to find opportunities for you to mix some of your passions with some of the things that might be a little bit more financially lucrative so that you can find yourself in one of these matrices that you're really, really happy with and really fulfilled with over the next 10, 20, maybe even 40 years as well. One of the other things to really keep in mind is the fact that if you happen to find yourself right now in one of these boxes that you're not very happy with, there's never not an opportunity for you to change, right? You're not stuck in there forever. I think that it's really important for people to be very honest about what it is that they want in their life and how they can actually take the steps necessary to get towards that. So if you find yourself in a place where you're not doing something that you like and you're not very successful at it as well, that doesn't mean that you're going to spend the next 10, 20, 30 years in that particular spot. That's just a great opportunity for you to be introspective about what are the things that you really do want out of life and what steps you can take in order to get there. So that's going to be it for this video. I hope that we've provided some clarity to some people out there who might have had some questions or concerns about which direction they should actually take in their career. If you've gone down a particular route that you've really enjoyed or maybe haven't enjoyed, I'd love to hear some of your feedback, your thoughts, questions, comments, concerns in the comment section below. If you really enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe. It really does help out a lot. And so, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.